Peace and violence. Peace has been defined by scholars as the absence of war. Technically speaking, this definition is quite right, and there is no armed conflict in a society. A state of peace will automatically establish itself. The establishment of peace in a society is, however, not just a matter of putting an end to war and violence. However, not just a matter of putting an end to war and violence. That is only its initial phase. Whenever the state of peace prevails in a society, in the real sense, its members will necessarily engage themselves in positive activities. Their energies will be channelized into reconstruction of their own lives and of their social environment. The establishment of peace in a society can be likened to removing a dam from a river. Human life, like a flowering river, want to search forward under its own momentum. When there is no obstruction, all life's activities will be set in motion. Propelled by human nature itself, they come to a halt only when the artificial barriers of war and violence are placed before them. Peace, from the point of view of its result, is like an opening of all the doors of life to the fullest possible extent. There are some who call this kind of peace negative. They say peace has no value unless it is accompanied by justice. If they are offered peace, pure and simple, they will not accept it. They hold that they should first be given justice and rights, and then only can they live peacefully with others. Peace with justice is their watchword. This shows a lack of realism in their thinking. The truth is that justice does not directly follow on from a state of peace. The aim of establishing peace, in fact, is to open up opportunities for achievement of justice rather than the actual bringing of justice into being. Peace, of course, is a highly desirable state of being because once it is established, everyone has the opportunity to make plans and then achieve whatever he wants. But those who insist on the prior conditions of justice going hand in hand with peace will find neither peace nor justice. And they will continue to fight in the name of securing justice. In this way, they will never let such peace prevail as will provide an atmosphere conducive to securing justice. Peace is generally studied as the antithesis to war, but this is an extremely limited concept of peace. The truth is that peace relates to the entire spectrum of human life. In itself, it is a complete ideology. Peace is the matter key which opens all doors to success. It paves the way for the success of sincere efforts in all spheres. In a state of peace, we can go about any task. Without peace, it is impossible to act constructively. This is true of all matters in life, both great and small. The difference between peace and violence: peace is the result of planned action, while violence is purely an aggressive response to any kind of provocation. The peace loving person first thinks and then acts. The violent person first acts and then thinks. There is hope in peaceful action from start to finish. In violent action, however, there are false hopes to begin with, which are soon followed by frustration. The peace loving person stands for truth, while the violent person stands for falsehood. The way of peace runs an even course from beginning to end. While the path of violence is driven with obstacles, in peace construction is all, while with violence destruction is all. A peace loving person lives with love in his heart for others, while a violent person is consumed with hatred for others. The peaceful course ends in success, while the violent course ends in frustration and regret. In having recourse to peaceful methods, there is nothing to be lost and everything to be gained. Violent methods, on the contrary, bring no gains, only losses. The way of peace is the way of humanity, while the way of violence is the way of animality. While an act of peace is well within the ambit of the law, the act of violence is utterly lawless. A peace loving person ignores problem and avails opportunity, while a violence loving person leaves opportunities untapped and remain locked in a futile struggle with problems. While an act of peace causes the orchid of love and well wishing to blossom, an act of violence sows the seeds for a whole jungle of enmity and hatred. The culture of peace is, in short, the culture of goodness, while the culture of violence is the culture of evil. In peace, God's rights as well as human rights are honored. Where violence reigns, human rights as well, God's rights are violated. If peace is paradise, violence is hell. Where the opposite course of peace and war are to open to man, peace is the true choice for him. War is only a proof that he has made the wrong choice. That is a test in which he has failed. The truth is that war and violence are in no way valid options for any individual, community, or nation. Although many allurements exist in this world, they are there purely to put men to test. They are something desirable for men. For instance, alcohol is available, but it does not exist for man's consumption. It is there rather for man to refrain from indulging in it and thus prove his ability to distinguish between good and bad. It is temptation in the avoidance of which he shows that he is prudent and a man of principles. The same is of true of war, although the way of war is open to all. The noblest line of conduct is to refrain from opting for it. The conditions prevailing in ancient times allowed for war and self defense, but this permission to go to war conformed to the law of necessity. Now, in the present situation, this need no longer exists. Therefore, there should be a general ban on war.